In today's video, what we're going to cover is how you can automate the Creative Flywheel system. What is the Creative Flywheel system? Well, simply put, it is how you generate your creative concepts week after week. It's how your team operates. It's how you structure ideas. It's how you conduct market research. It's how you bring these concepts to life with headlines, copy, and visual imagery. In today's day and age of marketing, a lot of campaign structures include the broad structure. So what does this entail? Well, we can no longer target with interest-based targeting because we're going to pay far more expensive CPMs. So what we have to do now is segment all of our testing within the creatives because our creative does the targeting. So if you want to target women that are age 45 that have, let's say, a husband and they're retiring or whatever, we need copy that introduces slang, similar copy, similar keywords, or I wouldn't even say copy, I would just say angles that align with the overall objective with that ideal customer profile. So with that being said, if you don't have an organized structure, if you don't have a way to consistently generate new concepts or even make iterations to what might have worked in the past, well, then you're bound to fail, especially on paid ads. So how can we adjust? How can we introduce the Creative Flywheel system with automations into our business? Well, lucky for you, I built a protocol around this. So let's dive in. So what we have today is automating the Creative Flywheel system. Now, disclaimer, of course, with any brand that we display, or even if you look at my Studies.io website and you check out some of our cases and then our testimonials, a lot of that is directly correlated to having product market fit. If you don't have product market fit in this space, you're bound to fail because you need strong LTV in this game. That's how you grow holistically. You can't just rely on ads. Ads only amplifies your business. So without product market fit, well, then I would say hold off on ads. But if you are at a stage where you already have validated market fit, well, then you can mitigate the risk and skip the phase of you getting burned by ad agencies and can work directly with me and my team, Studies.io, where we help you build completely in-house. The goal is to always have an exit in mind, whether that be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, even 20 years down the line. Regardless, when we build a business, we want to make sure that it has the fundamentals in place so that for whatever reason, you can exit. You can get an ROI for all the hours, all the sweat equity that you put into this company. So that's the purpose with scalevelocity.io. Now let's dive into the Creative Flywheel. I already covered the system of producing creatives per week, but let's just define some key terms. Each creative concept consists of 2 additional variations. Every single week, a new batch of creative concepts are tested so that we can expand the ideal customer profile horizontally, and of course, scale winners vertically. So what iterations we may make to winning concepts is by playing around with some of these variables. This is like turning a static into a GIF or some sort of UGC. This is us split testing headlines. This is us introducing diverse actors to shoot this UGC. This is A/B testing background scenery, visuals, so on and so forth. But the goal is we want to exhaust every single variable possible. The reason why we do this is back to our main point. We want to expand the ideal customer profile horizontally, and we want to scale winners vertically. There's been numerous times in side ad accounts where just by expanding ideal customer profile, targeting the opposite gender, whatever, that has opened up a threshold of a new product line. That has opened up so many opportunities to expand the business holistically. So it's very important that we're always trying to innovate, always trying to test. There's always room to test more variables. Now, the internal team structure. I ran a creative agency in the past. I've consulted big brands doing $1 million+ a month in ad spend and even $1 million+ a month in revenue. All in all, just from the portfolio that we've managed, the structure is pretty much the same. There's a creative strategist who's responsible for market research and development of said creative concepts, an editor that handles post-production iterations, creative coordinator sourcing, vetting paid actors, and content creators. You work with agencies, you work with internal brands. This is the structure across the board. Creative strategist, editor, creative coordinator. And ideally, you want to have all of these roles segmented because if a creative strategist is really great at market research and developing concepts, well, then that's where they should spend all their time. They shouldn't be reaching out to paid actors or content creators. That should be the creative coordinator's role. The editor shouldn't handle reaching out to content creators. If their main job, if they're really good at handling post-production, That's where all their time should be within the business. Now, although this team structure was designed with the intention of having the bandwidth to produce up to 90 testable ads per month, a variation of this layout should be implemented if the brand is on the Bootstrap side. So what does this iteration look like? Well, you can have a creative strategist who tackles on the responsibilities of sourcing / vetting content creators. And then you might still need an editor. Or if you have an editor internally, you just might need a creative strategist. Or if you have a creative strategist, you might just need an editor. Flip or flop, regardless, the creative strategist is probably one of the key roles, and then you have an editor secondary to that. And then at the stage where you really want to automate the system, well, then you might introduce a creative coordinator. Now, the centralized production of this is ClickUp. That's the software we use because we can track the process of script writing, the process of revisions or iterations, and then ready to launch. So the framework that is laid out is we have scripting on this tab. We have briefing / content, cutting, adjustments, review, ready to launch. Now, the creative strategist and editor are to understand the KPIs, and in order to organize the KPIs across the board so that every team member has an objective, well, we need a centralized environment. So this is what ClickUp is. Week over week, we have weekly check-in calls. We go over KPIs. We say, okay, for this week, we need 5 concepts, which is 15 testable ads. From there, we see the stage and the timeline of that. And then we can also check in and see, okay, establish iterations to what's worked in the past. And then the creative strategist can also look at data from the ad campaigns. And from there, that gives the creative strategist the North Star of where to make iterations. Now, communication, the beautiful thing about ClickUp is we utilize that with Zapier. So anytime when a specific concept moves to the ready to launch phase, a message gets sent to the media bar in a separate channel automatically saying, hey, these are ready to launch. Media bar goes in, clicks the link to the ClickUp, downloads all the creative concepts that have been approved by the founder, boom, ready to launch. And then from there, in communication is organized and automated with just a few clicks of a couple buttons. And then when it comes to establishing KPIs, depending on ad spend, the bare minimum is around $3,000 a month with the intent of spending at least $100 to reach 7 conversions per day. A healthy amount of creative concepts should be around 5 to 8 with 2 variants per concept. So we're looking at roughly bare minimum 15 to 24 total testable ads. This includes OG concepts. Each ad creative gets either 2x in AOV spend or $100 thresholds if the AOV, of course, is lower. Now, the campaign structure is pretty simple. It's one broad campaign at the CBO level. Budget is set at CBO at the campaign level. We have one broad ad set, 3 adverts with 2 variants per ad set. Now, Meta updated the feature here. They got rid of DCT at the ad set level, but simply put, they just adjusted it at the ad level. So the features that were on DCT are no longer on the ad set level. They updated the name with flexible ad format, and they just made it at the ad level. Same feature, same concept still applies. So this is end-to-end operations of what it takes to really produce up to 90 testable ads a month. Now, give or take, if you're in the scenario of team agency, I would highly recommend that you look at the protocol at scalevelocity.io. You check it out, because the thing is, you save on costs at a certain point in time, right? When you work with the agency, sure, you're paying 6 to 10K a month retainers. That agency isn't really incentivized to grow your business. They're just incentivized to maintain you as a client. So when it comes to the creative establishments and relying on agencies, 9 times out of 10, I don't see any direct correlation of them making iterations. I just see majority of them just throwing random concepts at the wall, hoping it sticks. Where we thrive and where building in-house really thrives is when you have a creative strategist that's only working with your brand, or let's say working one or 2 other brands, and they're in the day-to-day operations of market research, developing creative concepts, looking at split testing it, and actually reading the data from the ad spend to make iterations, to make adjustments. That does more for your business than, let's say, a creative agency who's just throwing random concepts at the wall. So I say to say, in comparison, each process or each system has pros and cons. If you're looking to get set up for an exit and you want a decent multiple, well, then building in-house is the next step. Whereas if you're bootstrapped and you lack expertise, I wouldn't even say creative agency is the way to go. I would say just try to do this on your own. So there's different pros and cons to each, but what I've seen work the best is building internally, because you're only 2 hires away from having key players take you to the next step. I'd rather take that approach than having a creative agency and have to pay them. I'm locked in on a 90-day term, so on and so forth. Just a lot of headaches, and I have no control of keeping those concepts on brand. There's a lot of ramp up period, whereas when I have somebody internally, I know they're going to be with me in the long run, so then I can invest into them so that they can grow faster. So if you want the process of skipping the phase of getting burned by ad agencies, check out scalevelocity.io. You can read my 30-page protocol. You can also book in a call and speak directly with me, and I can walk you through the process of how we work with brands to get them set up for exits. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.